Raising Dion addresses the deeply rooted issue of racism and highlights Black struggles in the smartest way. And Raising Dion is honestly the best place for creatives to do this on because the show has a large majority of young and impressionable viewers. Let's take a deeper look into how the show dives into the struggles of the Black community in the most intelligent of ways. First, let's look into this layered approach. The reason why we are so appreciative of Raising Dion is because of the series' creator, genius Carol Barbie, who has managed to efficiently veil the difficult and heavy issues with excellently developed characters who have reasons for being the way they are, whether they're the heroes or play closer to the villainous side. The heroes give us major friendship goals, and there's even a touch of romance to make things interesting. However, if you dig in just a little deep into what lies underneath the fun stuff, you will find actual instances of hatred and discrimination that the Black community is all too aware of. These struggles have been showcased through the lives of those who live with superpowers, while the show dissects the relationship and dynamics between the privileged and the outcasts. The second season of Raising Dion demonstrates these issues using a rather layered approach, but they come undone with absolute ease. All it takes is an eye of experience, and everything becomes visible. Honestly, this season does not hold back. Right at the beginning, we see parallels between racism and involuntary impulse reactions and comments from people being drawn in a most unexpected way, all the while talking about discrimination against the powered people. The season begins 2 years after where season 1 left off. Nicole Warren, played by the gorgeous Alicia Wainwright, has spent the entire time getting used to and adapting to a life with a child with superpowers. However, learning to accept her son as he is and ensuring that she protects him at any cost has not changed her perception about powered people. Clearly, because she makes the mistake of making Dion's new powered trainer, a guy named Tevin, feel uncomfortable with her reaction upon meeting him for the first time. Her aversion to these powers is obvious, even if they're used for her benefit, and her tone when she first interacts with Tevin while giving him a most ridiculous deadpan stare is enough for the trainer to get offended by. She states the obvious with a monotonous "you're powered" after he saves her from getting sprayed with coffee, and Tevin is forced to ask if it just got cold in here because of the way she reacts. He even asks her if there is a problem and if she has something against powered people. She tries to explain how she loves powered people, only making things worse for herself, and Tevin responds with the sarcastically iconic, "Yeah, some of your best friends are powered. Does that sound familiar?" Maybe imagine talking to Karen, and maybe that'll help you visualize the conversation better. Just a heads up to everyone out there, it is never okay to justify your overtly or even mildly offensive comments or actions with "I have a lot of Black friends." Next, we look into casting Rome Flynn as Tevin. Of course, the show's decision to cast Rome Flynn as Tevin is a highly appreciable move, especially since it became quite evident from the beginning of the season that Tevin is going to be a major part in the series, what with him being Dion's trainer, as well as a potential love interest for Nicole. Flynn has previously worked in How to Get Away with Murder, which was another show with an exceptionally strong cast as well as story. Another example of a show which doubles as an educational program, as HTGAWM was a show about people, well, getting away with murder on the surface, but addressed the many systemic wrongs and discriminatory behaviors in the American justice system. Now, monetary and otherwise exploitation of Black talent. The similarities and symbolism does not stop there. The show then decides to use Josh Ventura's David Marsh, who is a Bayona employee, in quite a subtle way to depict another one of the issues faced by the Black community. There had always been something shady about David, be it his duplicitous and dishonest seeming smile, or the fact that he appeared to be awfully eager to utilize the gifts of powered people, covertly looking for ways to exploit those with superpowers. Of course, he tried to pretend he was doing it to help put an end to world hunger and whatnot, but his actions were as far from being humanitarian in nature as can be. Of course, his real intentions were revealed towards the end, when the audience realized that he only wanted to monetize the powered people so he could coax them into getting financial financial gains out of them. Exploitation of Black talent without compensating them fairly has been the backbone of systemic racism. We don't need to dig. Simply open up the Pandora box of discrimination against the community, and you will find yourselves drowning in pay disparities and a never-ending list of grievances, taking us all the way back to the plantations. Thankfully, David does get his as he ends up facing unemployment after being kicked out of Bayona. Now we just have to worry about his newly formed partnership with the Crooked Man. Next, we have a conversation that takes place between sisters Nicole and Kat, who is a doctor and is played by the lovely Jasmine Simon. Kat has just returned from a trip to Ghana and has learned a lot of things. She uses the word Sankofa, which, as she explains, means going back and getting it. This beautifully reflects the kind of conversations as well as realizations taking place among the Black community all the time. Kat, having taken a trip to an African country, reflects on the desire that Black people feel to explore their roots and rediscover a meaningful connection, which can be difficult to establish while living in the Western world. Of course, she also talks about feeling parental pressure, which forced her to become a doctor simply because her mom and dad wanted that of her. The fact that Nicole refers to Kat as the good daughter and the overall exchange between the two sisters also has layers to it. It shines a light on the pressure that young Black kids constantly undergo in order to exceptionally well academically so that they can secure a good job and support their families. And it also creates an environment of obedience as well as endless competition, which pits siblings against one another. Next, powered people with decision-making powers make powerful changes. The most significant moment in the show has to be near the end, when Nicole makes the suggestion to appoint a powered person to take her place on the advisory board of Bayona as the speaker representative. She speaks about decisions getting made, and what matters is who is in the room when it's decision-making time. And then she asks Janelle Carr, played by Aubriana Davis, to take her place and become the first powered speaker representative. The scene signifies the importance of being able to control one's own narrative and being present in positions of power when decisions are being made so that real and powerful changes can be made, which benefits one's community. It is an integral part in the fight for equality, and this moment demonstrates that exceptionally. It comes as no surprise that Barbie's entire approach is to permeate the mainstream media with serious and important context, imparting knowledge on people in the guise of entertainment. Will we get to have a season 3 of Raising Dion? So far, there is no news of whether or not we will get to see Dion and his crew for a third season. If we are to base our assumption on how long it took for the show's second season to get renewed, as well as the general pattern that Netflix follows with announcing renewal of its content, we'd say it will take at least 3 months before we hear any news. However, this would be pure speculation because the COVID-19 pandemic has definitely created a whole lot of uncertainty among the television industry. Even though the streaming service announced the show's season 2 within a few months, it took us over 2 years to actually be able to see the new season. The pandemic caused a serious delay in the production of season 2, and the crew could not begin filming until January of 2021, even though the show was renewed an entire year prior to it in January of 2020. Our hope is that the audience would not have to wait an additional 2 years to see a third season of their new favorite show, but it is nearly impossible for us to conclude if there is even going to be a third season. Let's talk 3 months from now, maybe? That's a wrap for this video. How do you feel about Raising Dion highlighting Black struggles and starting new conversations with the series content? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.